Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 4th of November, comes to you from London. And we're seeing a lot of green on the screen this morning. It's the Federal Reserve meeting and the Bank of England meeting on interest rates. Expectations in the UK are that we might see a rise in interest rates today, so that will be interesting. So we'll take a look also. We'll see the energy mix is all looking much stronger. A lot of green on the screen here this morning as well, so that's quite key. Taking a look at the dollar index, we start with that. This is the weekly, daily, and 60-minute charts, of course. Bullish on all three time frames above the cloud with the corresponding point and figure targets, so that's quite key. We've got good upside targets on the short-term chart. Looks like we're going to reach for a new high very soon. Looking at the euro, we are weaker against that dollar, and again, downside targets here, and just about to test the low that we saw last week. So Euro weak, dollar strong. We're holding 114 against the Japanese yen, so dollar strength really is very much key, and the pound against the euro is sitting at 118, just coming back into that short-term bullish phase, and of course interest rates expectations will help drive that higher. Bitcoin sitting at 61,666, so we are holding the 60s, and we've got this upside target still in play to $83,000, a new upside target to 70,000 based on that thrust that we've seen there. That move there has generated that thrust to 70,000, so quite key there. US stock markets were strong last night. We saw the S&P 500 index up 0.2% to a new all-time high. We're seeing the futures up this morning, slightly on the S&P, but the Nasdaq future up over 0.33%. So it looks like the market will open quite strongly. And the VIX volatility is sitting at around 15. This is a low point. The lows that we've seen in recent months. So the market is not that fearful at the moment, and equities continue to drive higher. The FTSE future is up 0.5% this morning, and the cash market in Germany, the DAX, is up 0.3%, so looking stronger there. Japan is up over 1%, so we saw quite a big move there, pushing to a new several-week high, and we can see that on the daily chart, that higher high, so that is good news for the Japanese market, looking strong. We've got an upside target of some 5% there, so looking stronger there. And we also saw strong performances on the Hang Seng and the Chinese market as well. Not enough to take the Chinese market short-term bullish, but we are still on the medium and long-term charts holding the bullish trends. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute, but just taking a quick look at some of the other commodities. We've got wheat down up 0.8% this morning, activating all these upside targets, looking very strong, having broken to that 9-year high on wheat. And if we look at corn, that is also turning a corner, trending up and just starting to come through the cloud, finding long-term support. So it looks like grains will start to go higher. That, of course, is fueling some inflationary fears as well. Gold is struggling. It can't get above that $1,800 mark. Still in a short-term downtrend. Until we get above $1,800, it's a tough call on gold. There are a lot of gold bulls around, of course, but the reality is we've got to break higher. We ideally need to break this 1900 high that we saw in the middle of the year. We are seeing stronger performances on platinum and palladium. Palladium up nearly 3% this morning, so that's looking stronger. And we do have some upside targets, but we still have to get through the cloud there. So the short-term picture is one of bullishness, but we still have the longer-term trends hanging over us a little bit. Copper was up over 1%. That's starting to look quite strong again. We need to break to new highs. We nearly did, but just finding resistance at that 5 level, so that's quite key. US 10-year yield sitting at 1.58%, and the 30-year yield sitting at 2%. So all eyes on the Fed, of course. Taking a look at the energy mix now, we put our report out to clients this morning, and you can see that here. We've basically this went out first thing to clients. We've turned neutral on Brent Crude and WTI. We were bearish yesterday. That played out. For the first thing this morning, this was the moves. So we went neutral. The key thing is we don't want to call the trend wrong. And so we are seeing now on Brent Crude a stronger showing this morning. So that's counter trend, which is really what held us back, and also just on the 1-minute charts, not really getting the same moves. You can follow the same charts that are in the report live during the day. Watch for that picture changing. That's going to be the quite key thing. Looking at US Nat Gas. We remain bullish here this morning, but we are seeing just a little bit of a downturn, and that's starting to change the picture, and you've got to watch for that. But these targets given yesterday were met. We still have this target to 598, but we are seeing a little bit of a breakdown of the price. Just watch for any new targets being generated. Emissions are looking weak in the trend at the moment, and we see that on the key levels here, that we've got this real trend here between 56 and 60. So that's what we really just need to watch out for there. And gas markets, we're more bullish this morning. Again, that was in the report. If we see here, we've turned bullish. Bold tells us that there's been a change, and we're seeing these upside targets given in the report and talked about, went out to clients this morning. We've already seen moves on gas since then. MVP was sitting just below the 195 level and now nudging 200, and TTF has got back to 78. We need to break this 80 level. You can see here that strong resistance. That's the level that we need to break really to activate bigger targets. So that's all eyes on that 80 euro level for TTF. And German power not looking as strong this morning. We do have an upside target to 122 that's just emerged since we put the report out. So that's the thing. You've got to keep an eye on these new targets being activated all the time. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.